In this video, I want to continue looking at the wing gambit, and I will link the first video in the description. And in that game, I won in 9 moves. This game is a little bit longer, but it's still a pretty short win. So, the opening, again, is Sicilian, b4, and you might be wondering, well, this is supposed to be a bad move, right? It already gives black an advantage. And objectively speaking, yes, that's true, but there is a game in this position. By the way, e6, I don't think it's a very good move. Taking the pawn is better. Although e6 is a little bit better than knight c6, but I think that usually happens when people pre-move. But there is a game between Grandmaster Timur Gariev from 2018, I believe, where he had the black pieces against someone who was rated around 2050, and he lost that game. So if you can beat someone that's 600 points higher rated than you, then something went bad in the opening. So e6 not a very good move at all. And that's because, well, after you recapture, you play d4, you get the center, which is the whole point of the gambit, and you gain a tempo on the bishop. The bishop has to retreat. Bishop e6 is a little bit more aggressive. Bishop e7 a little bit more solid. I would probably play bishop b6 unless I was playing someone who I knew was a little bit stronger than me. Bishop a3, the idea is very simple. You just want to control the diagonal, and well, if you block it with a knight after you castle, then the knight's going to be pinned. If you go d6, then I have a little bit more space in the center. I could also just play knight f3, and this is a computer line, and well, this line just illustrates the idea that I talked about in my previous video, where I basically said that we're playing a French defense, essentially. We're not playing a Sicilian anymore. And well, this line kind of proves it. Now, yes, you might say, well, this is a strange looking French defense, but I mean, all of these moves are fairly common. And well, here my opponent played d5, which is, I think, an inaccuracy. It already gives white a significant advantage. It's only depth 16, but if you let it analyze a little bit deeper, it likes white. And well, like I said, we're playing a French defense, but essentially in the French defense, black is putting pressure on the d4 pawn. Here that's not possible because there's a pawn on c3. And well, for that reason, my opponent played this move, bishop a5, which I don't like. And during the game, I didn't really understand it because, well, I still don't really get it, because yes, you're attacking the pawn, but you can only attack it with one piece. It's already defended, and you can't attack it with the queen. In the French defense, usually you play queen b6 to put pressure on the d4 pawn, but here you're going to have to play queen c7, bishop d7, rook c8, and then this knight is going to have to go somewhere so that you can put pressure on the c pawn. But that's so many moves. I think it's just too slow. f6 is pretty much the only move because, again, the pawn breaks in this opening, the French defense, are either c5 or f6. Here there's no c pawn, so obviously you can't play that. So the only move is f6. Now, this is an interesting line. I thought it was cute because it's perpetual. Now, this is not forced by any means, but here, taking on e5 is pretty much an offer of a draw by black, which I don't think white should accept. And you have a repetition. Now, after knight f3, my opponent just continued development. The knight might come to f5, which is a standard idea. Bishop d3, and here my opponent castled, which I don't think it's a good move. Simply because, well, already I was thinking about sacrificing on h7. Now, in this position, it actually doesn't work. Now, this I analyzed after the game, but just intuitively, I didn't like it because, well, again, the bishop is putting pressure on the pawn, but it's actually pinning the pawn. So, if I were to take, let's say king g6, now if the queen moves, then black can try and give up back the material because, okay, it doesn't work, but in some positions it might actually be able to give back material in order to stave off checkmate. And, well, if you have to take the knight, then black might, be fine. And this is the losing move. Now, pretty much, the sacrifice just, it doesn't matter what you do with black, everything's working. Taking the bishop is your best chance. My opponent chose the worst move out of all three options, king f8. But it's understandable. King h8 also looks bad. Because it is. They're all bad. So just to illustrate what happens, check, and if king h6, bishop c1, and you're threatening knight f7 or knight e6 check, and you're winning the queen. And if you play king g6, you have queen g4. And, well, obviously if you go back with the king, queen h5 looks like the most natural move. You also have queen f3. So after king f8, knight g5 anyway. And, well, this knight is pinned because of this bishop. So, yeah, that's pretty much the problem with this position. My opponent played g6, but that doesn't help. Queen f3, and the obvious threat, king g7. I played queen takes, check, but queen f6 I think is a nicer way to win. So after king h6 you have bishop c1 and it's game over. But if knight takes is also winning. You win the queen, but well, I don't know. I didn't really have that much time to calculate. And well, after this, I played queen f4, which is I think a blunder according to the engines, because I don't have a forced mate anymore. But my opponent blundered back with a rook f8, and after queen h4, my opponent resigned because this is forced mate in 6 moves. So yeah, hope that you liked the video, and if you want to check out the first part, it's in the description. And don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share and subscribe if you haven't already. And thank you for watching.